was said, but also by what the Dean, Alexis, shared with us, but also by what some of those that are not present here today and through the video shared some thoughts about the wonderful experience I have had in the last 4 years with many of you. You know, in a blink of an eye, 4 years have flown by. And this is something that when you're having fun, you don't notice. And so the moment has come for me to move on. Coming to Washington was a huge change for me, a change I wasn't planning. When these changes occur, we are somehow invited to examine our lives. Somehow people think of their lives, try to, as the pages of a book, which are being written as the story unfolds with the passage of time. As a teenager, I used to have my life planned out in such a way that I thought I knew what the index of my book would be like. I wanted to be a successful entrepreneur, growing the company my parents had founded. My grandparents migrated from Palestine to El Salvador without a penny, with very little education. And they started from zero, just like many others did, and many other nationalities did in other parts of the world, and became quite successful. Little did I know, life would kick me more than a World Cup soccer ball and send me bouncing in many different directions. When I finished high school, my country was already tangled in a civil war. The main universities were closed, so I was forced to study overseas. That was kick number one. As I was finishing my engineering degree and was busy planning my return home, my father called me and said that the situation in El Salvador was worse and it was better for me to stay in the United States for a few more years. That was kick number two. So I started a master's degree which gave me the opportunity, among other things, to do consulting overseas for large corporations. This opened the door to buy equipment from a candy factory here in the United States that I planned to take to El Salvador after I graduated. My original plans were just slightly delayed. Suddenly life gave me another kick. My brother was kidnapped in El Salvador. The project was canceled, and I was pretty much forced to stay in the United States for security reasons. What would I do then? Getting a PhD sounded reasonable, so I continued to learn. Except for professors, I didn't know anyone who had a PhD. Hopefully it will come in handy someday. I finally went back to El Salvador with an exciting new project to expand the family business, but also very eager to help in any way I can to solve or contribute in solving some of the problems of my country, to contribute from any trench I could. So I began also to teach and also to work with the think tank and with the Chamber of Commerce. Kick number 4 came when I received a message that the president of our country wanted to see me. For what, I thought? To run the state-owned telephone monopoly. You have to be kidding, I said. But after 18 months, we ended the monopoly, we opened the sector, we privatized the company, and we created new resources for social projects. And best of all, having survived the process with only a few bruises on my ego, but my dignity intact, I was ready to get back to my life. As you might guess, I was kicked again. This time, as I returned to round 2 of the political arena as Chief of Staff to a new President and as Minister of Finance. After 12 strenuous years working for 3 different governments, as Bob said, without belonging to any political party, where I reached the amazing size of 317 pounds, I was looking forward to relaxing. God had other plans. I got kicked again, this time to Washington, D.C., to work here. I was offered the job of MD based on my track record, a member of a team of reformers of El Salvador's economic and social landscape. So after 12 years of experience as client and part as governor of the World Bank, in 2006 I made a 4-year commitment to come here for a term as a managing director. I have fulfilled what I promised. As I had always planned, I'm heading back to the private sector. But I feel strengthened by these last 4 years, and I live here with a renewed focus on socially responsible projects that promote development. I have enormous respect for those who invest in the United States and other prosperous economies. But what excites me much more, and where I will channel my efforts, is in promoting development in poor countries. We know too well how many countries can provide their citizens with security, electricity, food, and water. In order to have a world free of poverty, these investments must be done. And our experience here suggests that many key investments in developing countries must be done entirely or in part by the private sector. I guess then that in many ways I will keep working for the same goals. I also believe that we have to invest in showing our youth successful examples that have improved the quality of life of people around the world. That is why I have accepted a position at the Woodrow Wilson School at Princeton University as lecturer of public and international affairs, where I will have the honor of sharing with graduate students how multilateral agencies, government, and the private sector can work together to promote development. The fall semester will be dedicated to Haiti, working closely with the Clinton-Bush Fund for Haiti. I start this new chapter thankful for the honor I have had to serve people in need in many corners of the world. I'm thankful to those who gave me this opportunity, Paul Wolfowitz and Bob Senner. Both you have been an example of hard work and diplomacy. I have served with conviction and with the passion that comes from principles and values that put the individual in the center of every decision. From the people of Malawi, Senegal, Vietnam, where I made my first trip, the Solomon Islands, through Palestine, Jordan, and Egypt, to Colombia, Haiti, and Mexico, I have learned that individuals want opportunities, not handouts. They want jobs, not a bag of food that lasts only a short period of time. In these 16 years, I have seen an evolving bank. Leaders within the institution that are not afraid to confront change, but also the harsh reality of not always having the means and political capital of achieving all changes needed. To me, the bank is still an elephant that needs to become a lynx, weaker, more knowledgeable, and results-oriented. But I must admit, and this is to a great extent thanks to the leadership of Bob, that this elephant has learned to dance, paraphrasing IBM's Louis Gertler's book. More needs to be done, in my view, in two areas, and that's very easy. On the HR front, we need more flexibility, and on public policies that work. We shouldn't be afraid to advise on privatizations, on reduction of the state, on eliminating subsidies, on strengthening security, respecting property rights, and combating corruption. We shouldn't be afraid to tell the truth. Because if we don't, progress will take much longer and the bank will never fulfill its true potential. I know what the potential is because I lived through that in part of my life before I came to the bank. El Salvador was a fragile state in 1992 when it signed the peace agreements. 90% of its infrastructure was destroyed after a decade of war that killed 5% of our population and forced 22% of our population to emigrate out of the country. The economy was in shambles from the war, but also from an interventionist socialist model. Salvadorians stopped blaming others. We stopped blaming others for our own problems and stood behind leaders who cleaned up the house. And an aggressive reform program focused on achieving opportunities through economic freedom and poverty alleviation was followed. El Salvador went from hardship to investment grade. And in the process, our country made very effective use of remarkable resources and valuable funding from the World Bank as it was able to offer. We minimize and modernize regulation and maximize competition. We produce a small and more efficient government, decentralized the decision-making, and created the environment for private sector-led growth. We strengthened the rule of law, security, both personal and legal, which was key, and the results changed the way people live. Extreme poverty was reduced from 40% to 12%. Illiteracy and infant mortality reduced by more than half. Unemployment came down from 13% to 5%. But we wish that to happen in these days in many countries. Access